Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Vishnupad Paramahansa Parikaracharya Stora Shri Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ji ki. Jai Vishnupad Paramahansa Parikaracharya Stora Shri Srimati Bhakti Siddhanta Goswami Maharaj ki. Ananda Koti Vaishnava Vrind ki. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्री गौर भक्त वृंद की. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. So we are reading from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila, chapter 4, the confidential reasons for the appearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. For the last 2 days we have been speaking about the reasons for the appearance of Lord Chaitanya, the external reasons. So we start on this chapter, which is the confidential reasons for the appearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now when I was looking at this chapter, it has over 250 shlokas. So to try and speak in 45 minutes, I just condensed the most important, because it's over 250 shlokas to try and speak, you know. So the summary of the chapter is, in this chapter of the epic Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami has stressed that Lord Chaitanya appeared for 3 principal purposes of his own. The first purpose was to relish the position of Srimati Radharani, who is the prime reciprocator of transcendental love of Sri Krishna. Lord Krishna is the reservoir of transcendental loving transactions with Srimati Radharani. The subject of those loving transactions is the Lord himself, and Radharani is the object. Thus the subject, the Lord, wanted to relish the loving mellow in the position of the object, Radharani. The second reason for his appearance was to understand the transcendental mellow of himself. Lord Krishna is all sweetness. Radharani's attraction for Krishna is sublime, and to experience that attraction and understand the transcendental sweetness of himself, he accepted the mentality of Radharani. And the third reason that Lord Chaitanya appeared was to enjoy the bliss tasted by Radharani. The Lord thought that undoubtedly Radharani enjoyed his company, and he enjoyed the company of Radharani. But the exchange of transcendental mellow between the spiritual couple was more pleasing to Srimati Radharani than to Sri Krishna. Radharani felt more transcendental pleasure in the company of Krishna than he could understand without asking her position. But for Sri Krishna to enjoy in the position of Srimati Radharani was impossible, because that position was completely foreign to him. Krishna is the transcendental male, and Radharani is the transcendental female. Therefore, to know the transcendental pleasure of loving Krishna, Lord Krishna himself appeared as Lord Chaitanya, accepting the emotions and bodily luster of Srimati Radharani. Lord Chaitanya appeared in order to fulfill these confidential desires and also to preach the special significance of chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, and to answer the call of Advaita Prabhu. These were secondary reasons. Shri Swarup Damodar Goswami was a principal figure among Lord Chaitanya's confidential devotees. The records of his diary have revealed these confidential purposes of the Lord. These revelations have been confirmed by the statements of Srila Rupa Goswami in his various prayers and poems. This chapter also specifically describes the difference between lust and love. The transactions of Krishna and Radha are completely different from material lust. Therefore, the author has very clearly distinguished between them. So I'm going to go straight to text number 5. And I'll go straight to the English just because there is so much nectar in this chapter. So text 5. I have given the essential meaning of the 4th verse. This incarnation Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu descends to propagate the chanting of the holy name and spread love of God. Text 6. Although this is true, this is but the external reason for the Lord's incarnation. Please hear one other reason, which is the confidential reason for the Lord's appearance. Purport. In the 3rd chapter, 4th verse, it has been clearly said that Lord Chaitanya appeared in order to distribute love of Krishna and the chanting of his transcendental holy name Hare Krishna. That was the secondary purpose of Lord Chaitanya's appearance. The real reason is different, as we shall see in this chapter. Text 7. The scriptures proclaim that Lord Krishna previously descended to take away the burden of the earth. To take away this burden, however, is not the work of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The maintainer, Lord Vishnu, is the one who protects the universe. Text 9. But the time to lift the burden of the world mixed with the time for Lord Krishna's incarnation. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. We have information from the Bhagavad Gita that the Lord appears at particular intervals to adjust a time-worn spiritual culture. Lord Shri Krishna appeared at the end of Dwapar Yuga to regenerate the spiritual culture of human society and also to manifest his transcendental pastimes. Vishnu is the authorized Lord who maintains the created cosmos and is also the principal deity who makes adjustments when there is improper administration in the cosmic creation. But Shri Krishna, being the primeval Lord, appears not in order to make such administrative adjustments, but only to exhibit his transcendental pastimes, and thus attract the fallen souls back home, back to Godhead. However, the time for administrative rectification and the time for Lord Shri Krishna's appearance coincided at the end of the last Dwapar Yuga. Therefore, when Shri Krishna appeared, Vishnu, the Lord of maintenance, merged with him because all the plenary portions and parts of the absolute personality of Godhead merged with him during his appearance. Very important point by Srila Prabhupada here, that we have the Guna avatars, which are the 3 predominating deities of Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh, who are in charge of the mode of goodness, passion and ignorance. And Srila Prabhupada distinguishes very clearly here that the principal function of Lord Krishna is not to come and annihilate the miscreants. That is the function of Vishnu. And that Lord Vishnu actually merges along with all the other partial incarnations into Krishna. As we know, Krishna is Bhagwan Swayam. So they all merge, and it is actually Vishnu who merges into Krishna that is actually doing these killing activities that we are aware of in Vrindavan. But Lord Krishna himself, he does not do that, which is very, very important. So when the complete Supreme Personality of Godhead descends, all other incarnations of the Lord meet together with him. Lord Narayan, the 4 primary expansions, Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyumna and Anirudh, Matsya and the other Leela incarnations, the Yuga avatars, the Manvantara incarnations and as many other incarnations as there are, all descend in the body of Lord Krishna. In this way, the complete Supreme Godhead, Lord Krishna himself, appears. At that time, therefore, Lord Vishnu is present in the body of Lord Krishna, and Lord Krishna kills the demons through him. Thus, the killing of the demons is but secondary work. I shall now speak of the main reason for the Lord's incarnation. The Lord's desire to appear was born from 2 reasons. The Lord wanted to taste the sweet essence of the mellows of love of God, and he wanted to propagate devotional service in the world on the platform of spontaneous attraction. Thus he is known as supremely jubilant and as the most merciful of all. During the period of Krishna's appearance, the killing of Asuras or non-believers such as Kansa and Jarasandha was done by Vishnu, who was within the person of Sri Krishna. Such apparent killing by Lord Sri Krishna took place as a matter of course and was an incidental activity for him. But the real purpose of Lord Krishna's appearance was to stage a dramatic performance of his transcendental pastimes at Vrajabhumi, thus exhibiting the highest limit of transcendental mellow in the exchanges of reciprocal love between the living entity and the Supreme Lord. These reciprocal exchanges of mellows are called Raga Bhakti or devotional service to the Lord in transcendental rapture. Lord Shri Krishna wants to make known to all the conditioned souls that he is more attracted by Raga Bhakti than Vidhi Bhakti or devotional service under scheduled regulations. It is said in the Vedas, Taittiriya Upanishad 2.7, Raso Vaisa. The absolute truth is the reservoir for all kinds of reciprocal exchanges of love and sentiments. He is also causelessly merciful, and he wants to bestow upon us this privilege of Raga Bhakti. Thus he appeared by his own internal energy. He was not forced to appear by any extraneous force. Lord Krishna thought, all the universe is filled with the conception of my majesty, but love weakened by that sense of majesty does not satisfy me. If one regards me as the Supreme Lord and himself as a subordinate, I do not become subservient to his love, nor can it control me. In whatever transcendental mellow my devotee worships me, I reciprocate with him. This is my natural behavior. The Lord by his inherent nature reveals himself before his devotees according to their inherent devotional service. The Vrindavan pastimes demonstrated that although generally people worship God with reverence, the Lord is more pleased when a devotee thinks of him as his pet son, personal friend, or most dear, I don't know if that is meant to be fiancé, and renders service unto him with such natural affection. The Lord becomes a subordinate object of love in such transcendental relationships. Such pure love of Godhead is unadulterated by any tinge of superfluous non-devotional desires and is not mixed with any sort of fruitive action or empiric philosophical speculation. It is pure and natural. Love of Godhead spontaneously aroused in the absolute stage. This devotional service is executed in a favorable atmosphere freed from material affection. In whatever, and that is now from, as we know, Yayata mam prabadyante, tam stataiva bhajami aham, mam manu vartante, manusya partha sarvasa. This is from the Bhagavad Gita. In whatever way my devotees surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects, O son of Pritha. In the 4th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna affirms that formerly, some 120 million years before the battle of Kurukshetra, he explained the mystic philosophy of the Gita to the sun god. The message was received through the chain of disciplic succession. But in course of time, the chain being broken somehow or other, Lord Shri Krishna appeared again and taught Arjuna the truths of the Bhagavad Gita. At that time, the Lord spoke this verse, which is in Bhagavad Gita 4:11 to his friend Arjuna. If one cherishes pure love and devotion to me, thinking of me as his son, his friend, or his beloved, regarding himself as great and considering me as equal or inferior, I become subordinate to him. So in the purport, I'm gonna just because of time, I'm gonna skip the purport, but there is a lot of nectar, so I encourage all the devotees to try and read this chapter. And I'll give some specific verses that we can read to get the powerful message of Srila Prabhupada's purports. Devotional service rendered to me by the living beings revives their eternal life. O my dear damsels of Vraj, your affection for me is your good fortune, for it is the only means by which you have obtained my favor. This is Lord Krishna speaking to the gopis when they met at Kurukshetra. because Lord Krishna was so indebted to them that he didn't know how to repay them. So this was the verse he used to say that your affection for me is your good fortune, for it is the only means by which you have obtained my favor. He also, Lord Krishna will also state another verse which we are going to read in this chapter. Pure devotional service is represented in the activities of the residents of Brajabhumi, Vrindavan. During a solar eclipse, the Lord came from Dwarka and made the inhabitants of Vrindavan at Samanta Panchak. The meeting was intensely painful for the damsels of Brajabhumi because Lord Krishna had apparently left them to reside at Dwarka. But the Lord obligingly acknowledged the pure devotional service of the damsels of Braj by speaking this verse. Mother sometimes binds me as a son. She nourishes me and protects me, thinking me utterly helpless. My friends climb on my shoulders in pure friendship, saying, "What kind of big man are you? You and I are equal." You know, on the currency of the United States, it says God is great. This verse actually depicts how great God is. You imagine trying to do that with the president. So, my friends climb on my shoulders in pure friendship, saying, "What kind of big man are you? You and I are equal." That is the supreme personality of God that we worship, not just any bogus person. If my beloved consort approaches me in a sulky mood, that stills my mind from the reverent hymns of the Vedas. Again, I'm going to skip the purport. Taking these pure devotees with me, I shall descend and sport in various wonderful ways, unknown even in Vaikuntha. I shall broadcast such pastimes by which even I am amazed. Lord Krishna in the form of Lord Chaitanya educates his devotees to develop progressively to the stage of pure devotional service. Thus he appears periodically as a devotee to take part in various wonderful activities depicted in his sublime philosophy and teachings. There are innumerable Vaikuntha planets in the spiritual sky, and in all of them the Lord accepts the service rendered by his eternal devotees in a reverential mood. Therefore, Lord Sri Krishna presents his most confidential pastimes as he enjoys them in his transcendental realm. Such pastimes are so attractive that they attract even the Lord. Thus, he relishes them in the form of Lord Chaitanya. The influence of Yoga Maya will inspire the gopis with the sentiment that I am their paramour. Yoga Maya is the name of the internal potency that makes the Lord forget himself and become an object of love for his pure devotee in different transcendental mellows. This Yoga Maya potency creates a spiritual sentiment in the minds of the damsels of Vraja, by which they think of Lord Krishna as their paramour. This sentiment is never to be compared to mundane illicit sexual love. It has nothing to do with sexual psychology. Although the pure love of such devotees seems to be sexual, one should know for certain that nothing can exist in this cosmic manifestation that has no real counterpart in the spiritual field. All material manifestations are emanations of the transcendence. The erotic principles of amorous love reflected in mixed material values are perverted reflections of the reality of spirit. But one cannot understand the reality unless one is sufficiently educated in the spiritual science. Neither the gopis nor I shall notice this, for our minds will always be entranced by one another's beauty and qualities. Text 31. Pure attachment will unite us even at the expense of moral and religious duties. Dharma. Destiny will sometimes bring us together and sometimes separate us. Text 32. I shall taste the essence of all these rasas, and in this way I shall favor all the devotees. Then by hearing about the pure love of the residents of Vraj, devotees will worship me on the path of spontaneous love, abandoning all rituals of religiosity and fruitive activity. Many realized souls such as Raghunath Das Goswami and King Kulak Shekhara have recommended with great emphasis that one develop this spontaneous love of Godhead, even at the risk of transgressing all the traditional codes of morality and religiosity. Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, one of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, has written in his prayers called the Mana Shiksha that one should simply worship Radha and Krishna with all attention. Na dharmam, na dharman, shruti gana niruktam kila Kuru. One should not be much interested in performing Vedic rituals or simply following rules and regulations. King Kulashekar has written similarly in his book Mukunda Mala Stotra that I have no attraction for performing religious rituals or holding any earthly kingdom. I do not care for sense enjoyments. Let them appear and disappear in accordance with my previous deeds. My only desire is to be fixed in devotional service to the lotus feet of the Lord, even though I may continue to take birth here life after life. Krishna manifests his eternal human-like form and performs his pastimes to show mercy to the devotees. Having heard such pastimes, one shall engage in service to him. Text 35. Here the use of the verb bhavat, which is in the imperative mood, tells us that this certainly must be done. Non-compliance could be abandonment of duty. So I'm going to go now to text 36 and 37. Just as these desires are the fundamental reason for Krishna's appearances, whereas destroying the demons is only an incidental necessity, so for Sri Krishna Chaitanya, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, promulgating the Dharma of the age is incidental. So what does that mean? The Dharma. What is the Yuga Dharma for this age? Sankirtan Yagya. So that is incidental. Because there is more confidential reasons for the Lord. They are the three prime reasons that we are going to speak about that are very well reiterated by Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami. So, I'm going to read all the way up to text 60. And then from text 60, I will jump to relevant texts which depict these three qualities. So when the Lord decided to appear for another reason, the time for promulgating the religion of the age also arose. Thus, with two intentions, the Lord appeared with his devotees and tasted the nectar of prema with the congregational chanting of the holy name. Thus, he spread kirtan even among the untouchables. He wove a wreath of the holy name and prema with which he garlanded the entire material world. That's why we say Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Padayate. Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gorat we say Namaha. Namo Mahavadanyaya. In this way, assuming the sentiment of a devotee, he preached devotional service while practicing it himself. Text 42. Four kinds of devotees are the receptacles of the four kinds of mallows in love of God. Namely, servitude, friendship, parental affection, and conjugal love. Each kind of devotee feels that his sentiment is the most excellent, and thus in that mood he tastes great happiness with Lord Krishna. But if we compare the sentiments in an impartial mood, we find that the conjugal sentiment is superior to all others in sweetness. Purport. No one is higher or lower than anyone else in transcendental relationships with the Lord. For in the absolute realm, everything is equal. But although these relationships are absolute, there are also transcendental differences between them. Thus, the transcendental relationship of conjugal love is considered the highest perfection. Increasing love is experienced in various tastes, one above another. But that love which has the highest taste in the gradual succession of desire manifests itself in the form of conjugal love or Madhurya Rasa. Therefore, I call it Madhurya Rasa. It has two further divisions, namely wedded and unwedded love. There is a great increase of mallow in the unwedded conjugal mood. Such love is found nowhere but in Vraj. This mood is unbounded in the damsels of Vraja, but among them it finds its perfection in Sri Radha. Her pure, mature love surpasses that of all others. Her love is the cause of Lord Krishna's tasting the sweetness of the conjugal relationship. Therefore, Lord Gauranga, who is Sri Hari himself, accepted the sentiments of Radha and thus fulfilled his own desires. So that is one of the reasons. Text number 51. Lord Chaitanya is the shelter of the demigods, the goal of the Upanishads, the be-all and end-all of the great sages, the beautiful shelter of his devotees, and the essence of the love of the lotus-eyed gopis. Will he again be the object of my vision? Lord Krishna desired to taste the limitless nectarian mallows of the love of one of his multitude of loving damsels, Sri Radha, and so he has assumed the form of Lord Chaitanya. He has tasted that love while hiding his own dark complexion. with her effulgent yellow color. May that Lord Chaitanya confer upon us his grace. To accept ecstatic love is the main reason he appeared and re-established the religious system for this age. I shall now explain that reason. Everyone, please listen. So that is Krishna Kaviraj Goswami. Having first given hints about the verse describing the principal reason why the Lord appeared, now I shall manifest its full meaning. Now this one is the very important shloka. Radha Krishna Pranaya Viktir Haladini Shaktir Asmat Etmanu Api Bhuvi Pura De Bedam Gatauto Chaitanyakam Prakatam Adunata Davayam Chaikyam Aptam Radha Bhavadyuti Suvilitam Naumi Krishna Swarupam. The loving affairs of Sri Radha and Krishna are transcendental manifestations of the Lord's internal pleasure-giving potency. Although Radha and Krishna are one in their identity, previously they separated themselves. Now these two transcendental identities are again united in the form of Sri Krishna Chaitanya. I bow down to him who has manifested himself with the sentiment and complexion of Srimati Radharani, although he is Krishna himself. This text is from the diary of Srila Swarup Damodar Goswami. It appears as the fifth of the first 14 verses of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. As we know, Radha Krishna, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Naha Anya. That Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya is the combined form of Radha and Krishna. And for new devotees and people new to Krishna consciousness, Swarup Damodar Goswami was the personal assistant, personal secretary of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, being the personal secretary and personal associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, there is elaborate diaries written by him of all the activities of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that's why the purport refers to Srila Swarup Damodar Goswami. Radha and Krishna are one and the same, but they have assumed two bodies. Thus they enjoy each other, tasting the mellows of love. Now to enjoy rasa, they have appeared in one body as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Therefore, I shall first delineate the position of Radha and Krishna. From that description, the glory of Lord Chaitanya will be known. Srimati Radhika is the transformation of Krishna's love. She is his internal energy called Haladini. That Haladini energy gives Krishna pleasure and nourishes his devotees. And then we are going to move to text number 100. So I'm going to go all the way from 60 to 100. So it's 99, 100. Okay. To promulgate Prema Bhakti, devotional service in love of God, Krishna appeared as Sri Krishna Chaitanya with the mood and complexion of Sri Radha. Thus, I have explained the meaning of the fifth verse. To explain the sixth verse, I shall first give a hint of its meaning. The Lord came to propagate Sankirtan. That is an external purpose, as I've already indicated. Then we go straight to 119. And that's 119, 120. O Purnamasi, if Lord Hari had not descended, let me make sure, that is 18, okay. Even though Lord Krishna, the abode of all mellows, had previously in this way chewed the essence of the mellows of love, still he was unable to fulfill three desires, although he made efforts to taste them. I shall explain his first desire. Krishna says, I am the primary cause of all rasas. I am the full spiritual truth and am made of full joy, but the love of Srimati Radharani drives me mad. I do not know the strength of Radha's love, with which she always overwhelms me. The love of Radhika is my teacher, and I am her dancing pupil. Her prema makes me dance various novel dances. So you can see, even Krishna is dancing. He is the pupil of Radharani, and Radharani is the teacher. Oh, my beloved friend Vrinda, where are you coming from? I am coming from the feet of Shri Hari. Where is he? In the forest on the bank of Radhakund. What is he doing there? He is learning dancing. Who is his master? Your image Radha, revealing itself in every tree and kripa, in every direction, is roaming like a skillful dancer, making him dance behind. Whatever pleasure I get from tasting my love for Srimati Radharani, she tastes 10 million times more than me by her love. 10 million more times. Just as I am the abode of all mutually contradictory characteristics, so Radha's love is always full of similar contradictions. Radha's love is all pervading, leaving no room for expansion, but still it is expanding constantly. There is certainly nothing greater than her love, but her love is devoid of pride. That is the sign of its greatness. Nothing is purer than her love, but its behavior is always perverse and crooked. All glories to Radha's love for Krishna, the enemy of the demon Mura. Although it is all pervading, it tends to increase at every moment. Although it is important, it is devoid of pride. And although it is pure, it is always beset with duplicity. Shri Radhika is the highest abode of that love, and I am its only object. As we know, in English grammar, we have object and subject. So the subject is Shri Krishna, but the object is Radharani. I taste the bliss to which the object of love is entitled, but that pleasure of Radha, the abode of that love, is 10 million times greater. My mind races to taste the pleasure experienced by the abode, but I cannot taste it, even by my best efforts. How may I taste it? If sometime I can be the abode of that love, only then may I taste its joy. So, purport, Visaya and Asraya are two very significant words relating to the reciprocation between Krishna and his devotee. The devotee is called the Asraya and his beloved Krishna is the Visaya. Different ingredients are involved in the exchange of love between the Asraya and Visaya, which are known as Vibhav, Anubhav, Satvik and Vyabhachari. Vibhav is divided into the two categories Alambana and Udipan. Alambana may be further divided into Ashraya and Vishaya. In the loving affairs of Radha and Krishna, Radharani is the Ashraya feature and Krishna is the Visaya feature. The transcendental consciousness of the Lord tells him, I am Krishna and I experience pleasure as the Visaya. The pleasure enjoyed by Radharani, the Ashraya, is many times greater than the pleasure I feel. Therefore, to feel the pleasure of the Ashraya category, Lord Krishna appeared as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Thinking in this way, Lord Krishna was curious to taste that love. His eager desire for that love increasingly blazed in his heart. That is one desire. Now please hear of another. Seeing his own beauty, Lord Krishna began to consider, my sweetness is wonderful, infinite and full. No one in the three worlds can find its limit. Only Radhika by the strength of her love tastes all the nectar of my sweetness. Although Radha's love is pure like a mirror, its purity increases at every moment. My sweetness also has no room for expansion, yet it shines before that mirror in newer and newer beauty. There is constant competition between my sweetness and the mirror of Radha's love. They both go on increasing, but neither knows defeat. My sweetness is always newer and newer. Devotees taste it according to their own respective love. If I see my sweetness in a mirror, I am tempted to taste it, but nevertheless I cannot. If I deliberate on a way to taste it, I find that I hanker for the position of Radhika, who manifests an abundance of sweetness greater than mine, which has never been experienced before, and which causes wonder to all. Alas, I myself, my mind bewildered, upon seeing this beauty, impetuously desire to enjoy it like Srimati Radharani. So then from here we're going to go to 159. This is a description of his second desire. Now please listen as I describe the third. Now for the third and towards the end we go to 220, all the way to 220. Okay. Lord Chaitanya appeared with the sentiment of Radha. He preached the dharma of this age, the chanting of the holy name and pure love of God. In the mood of Srimati Radharani, he also fulfilled his own desires. That is the principal reason for his appearance. Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya is Krishna, Vrajendra Kumar, the embodiment of rasas. He is amorous love personified. He made his appearance to taste that conjugal mallow and incidentally to broadcast all the rasas. My dear friends, just see how Sri Krishna is enjoying the season of spring with the gopis embracing each of his limbs. He is like amorous love personified. With his transcendental pastimes, he enlivens all the gopis and the entire creation. With his soft bluish black arms and legs, which resemble blue lotus flowers, he has created a festival for Cupid. Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya is the abode of rasa. He himself tasted the sweetness of rasa in endless ways. Thus he initiated the dharma for the age of Kali. The devotees of Lord Chaitanya know all these truths. Purport. Lord Chaitanya is Sri Krishna himself, the absolute enjoyer of the love of the gopis. He himself assumes the role of the gopis to taste the predominated happiness of transcendental malice. He appeared in that mode, but simultaneously he propagated the religious process for this age in a most fascinating way. Only the confidential devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu can understand this transcendental secret. Advaita Acharya, Lord Nityananda, Srivas Pandit, Gadadhar Pandit, Swarup Damodar, Murari Gupta, Haridas Thakur and all other devotees of Sri Krishna Chaitanya bowing down with devotion, I hold their lotus feet on my head. The author of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita teaches us that we must offer our respectful obeisances to all such pure, confidential devotees of Lord Sri Chaitanya if we indeed want to touch him in truth. I have given a hint of the 6th verse. Now please hear as I reveal the meaning of that original verse. Desiring to understand the glories of Radharani's love, the wonderful qualities in him that she alone relishes through her love, and the happiness she feels when she realizes the sweetness of his love, the Supreme Lord Hari, richly endowed with her emotions, appear from the womb of Srimati Sachi Devi as the moon appeared from the ocean. All these conclusions are unfit to disclose in public, but if they are not disclosed, no one will understand them. So now we're going to go to 238, and through 238, we will finish with the last shloka, which is 277. I may be running 5 minutes, but I'm trying to finish all the important essence of this nectar. So 238. Once Lord Krishna considered within his heart, everyone says that I am complete bliss, full of all rasas. All the world derives pleasure from me. Is there anyone who can give me pleasure? One who has 100 times more qualities than me could give pleasure to my mind. One more qualified than me is impossible to find in the world. But in Radha alone, I feel the presence of one who can give me pleasure. Although my beauty defeats the beauty of 10 million cupids, although it is unequaled and unsurpassed, and although it gives pleasure to the 3 worlds, seeing Radharani gives pleasure to my eyes. The vibration of my transcendental flute attracts the 3 worlds, but my ears are enchanted by the sweet words of Srimati Radharani. Although my body lends fragrance to the entire creation, the scent of Radharani's limbs captivates my mind and heart. Although the entire creation is full of different tastes because of me, I am charmed by the nectarian taste of the lips of Srimati Radharani. And although my touch is cooler than 10 million moons, I am refreshed by the touch of Srimati Radhika. Thus, although I am the source of happiness for the entire world, the beauty and attributes of Sri Radhika are my life and soul. In this way, my affectionate feelings for Srimati Radharani may be understood, but on analysis, I find them contradictory. My eyes are fully satisfied when I look upon Srimati Radharani, but by looking upon me, she becomes even more advanced in satisfaction. The flute-like murmur of the bamboos rubbing against one another still Radharani's consciousness, for she thinks it is the sound of my flute. And she embraces a tamal tree, mistaking it for me. I have gotten the embrace of Sri Krishna, she thinks, so now my life is fulfilled. Thus she remains immersed in pleasing Krishna, taking the tree in her arms. When a favorable breeze carries to her the fragrance of my body, she is blinded by love and tries to fly into that breeze. When she tastes the betel chewed by me, she merges in an ocean of joy and forgets everything else. Even with hundreds of mouths, I could not express the transcendental pleasure she derives from my association. Very important point. We know that Seshanag is with his 1,000 mouths not able to describe the qualities of Krishna. And Lord Krishna with his 100 mouths cannot describe the transcendental pleasure that Radharani is enjoying. Seeing the luster of her complexion after our pastimes together, I forget my own identity in happiness. The sage Bharata has said that the mellows of lover and beloved are equal, but he does not know the mellows of my Vrindavan. According to expert sexologists like Bharat Muni, the male and the female enjoy equally in material sexual pleasure. But in the spiritual world, the relationships are different, although this is unknown to mundane experts. The happiness I feel when meeting Radharani is 100 times greater than the happiness I get from meeting others. My dear auspicious Radharani, your body is the source of all beauty. Your red lips are softer than the sense of immortal sweetness. Your face bears the aroma of a lotus flower. Your sweet words defeat the vibrations of the cuckoo, and your limbs are cooler than the pulp of sandalwood. All my transcendental senses are overwhelmed in ecstatic pleasure by tasting you, who are completely decorated by beautiful qualities. Her eyes are enchanted by the beauty of Lord Krishna, the enemy of Kansa. Her body thrills in pleasure at her touch. Her ears are always attracted to his sweet voice. Her nostrils are enchanted by his fragrance, and her tongue hankers for the nectar of his soft lips. She hangs down her lotus-like face, exercising self-control only by pretense, but she cannot help showing the external signs of her spontaneous love for Lord Krishna. Considering this, I can understand that some unknown mellow in me controls the entire existence of my captivator Srimati Radharani. I am always eager to taste the joy that Radharani derives from me. In spite of various efforts, I have not been able to taste it. But my desire to relish that pleasure increases as I smell its sweetness. Formerly, I appeared in the world to taste mellows, and I tasted the mellows of pure love in various ways. I taught devotional service that springs from the devotee's spontaneous love by demonstrating it with my pastimes. But these three desires of mine were never satisfied, for one cannot enjoy them in a contrary position. Unless I accept the luster of the ecstatic love of Sri Radhika, these three desires cannot be fulfilled. Therefore, assuming Radharani's sentiments and bodily complexion, I shall descend to fulfill these three desires. In this way, Lord Krishna came to a decision. Simultaneously, the time came for the incarnation of the age. At that time, Sri Advaita was earnestly worshipping him. Advaita attracted him with his loud calls. First, Lord Krishna made his parents and elders appear. Then Lord Krishna himself, with the sentiments and complexion of Radhika, appeared in Navadip like the full moon from the womb of Mother Sachi, who is like an ocean of pure milk. Meditating on the lotus feet of Sri Rupa Goswami, I have thus explained the 6th verse. I can support the explanation of these 2 verses with a verse by Sri Rupa Goswami. Lord Krishna desired to taste the limitless nectarian mellows of the love possessed by one of his multitude of loving damsels, Sri Radha, and so he has assumed the form of Lord Chaitanya. He has tasted that love while hiding his own dark complexion with a effulgent yellow color. May that Lord Chaitanya confer upon us his grace. So this verse is being repeated twice. Thus the auspicious invocation, the essential nature of the truth of Lord Chaitanya and the need for his appearance have been set forth in 6 verses. Praying at the lotus feet of Sri Rupa and Sri Raghunath, always desiring their mercy, I, Krishna Das, narrate Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, following in their footsteps. I don't think so there is any questions. It's a lot of revelation, so we just need to read. Hare Krishna.